Welcome back to the Mike and Andrew Show. I'm Andrew Serwick here again with Mike Meredith. Mike, we crowned a champion last night in the NCAA men's tournament, of course, and we're gonna talk about it. But how you doing this evening, man?
Doing good, man. You know, tournament went on. Baseball's kicking in. The draft's coming up soon. It's gonna be good times again.
Yeah, that is right. Obviously, we're gonna talk tournament first here. We're also gonna get into more prospects today. We're gonna hit the running backs. All the exciting types of players are gonna be taken after we talk today. But let's get into the tournament, man. You just take it away here.
Yeah, so we had the championship game last night. It was two number one seeds, so two teams pretty predicted to go far. UConn, the big favorite, and Purdue. Purdue last year, this was a comeback for them. They lost to a 16 seed last year. It was the second time that ever happened of one losing to a 16. And I thought from that point on they were tournament chokers, man. I was like, man, Purdue, they'll probably win against the 16 this year, but they might get bounced early. But nope, Zach Edey was insane the whole tournament, and they made it to the championship game along with UConn, who was just they weren't just winning, they were dominating opponents, and they were winning by over 10, 20 every game. And UConn did it again, man. They won back-to-back titles. They won by 15 last night. They have the largest point differential in tournament history. They were plus 140 on the plus minus, winning um, their games in the tournament. So they were just dominating teams all tournament long. Like I said, that's a NCAA record right there. This UConn program is looking insane. They've won 6 titles over the last 25 seasons. They are definitely going to be a force to come. I mean, they are going to get some really stellar recruits, I feel. They're really starting to show themselves out as one of the best basketball schools. But yeah, looking through the rest of the tournament, just kind of going backwards here. The Final Four, we had NC State, who was an 11 seed, which that was crazy seeing a double-digit seed going to the Final Four. They also were in the women's Final Four, so them and UConn, I think they said it was the first time ever that two teams from the men's and from the women's that were the same in the Final Four. Alabama, they're turning into a basketball school now. No more Nick Saban for you. Alabama actually, I mean, probably played UConn the toughest of anyone. I mean, even though they still lost by over 10, they didn't get like absolutely destroyed like some other teams or give up a 30-0 run like UConn did against Illinois. But yeah, just I guess going through the rest of the tournament, not a lot of crazy upsets this year. Definitely not compared to last year. Last year was the year of the crazy 15, 16 seed upsets. The biggest upset was actually probably Oakland, number 14 Oakland. Really cool seeing that over number 3 Kentucky, and Calipari actually is now with Arkansas. So
Yeah, Oakland literally broke Kentucky.
yeah,
they broke
I mean
Kentucky.
they've been kind of saying for years though that Calipari is like kind of has to go, but this was like kind of the game that was like, okay, yeah, Calipari legit just like got out coached. Like he coached a horrible game, and that's why they lost. But there was reports that he was going to come back to Kentucky, but now 2 days ago, he's going to Arkansas. That's a 15-year, 10 years. That's gone. So yeah, really broke Kentucky, Oakland. So we have Oakland to thank for that. There's a couple more upsets. I mean, Yale was another bigger one. Um, yeah, other than that, not too many crazy upsets. Clemson actually went pretty far. They beat number 2 Arizona. And they played Alabama, the two football schools. Like I said, Alabama's turning more into a basketball school now. One of my favorite matchups that I watched all year was the Tennessee Purdue game. That was the Elite Eight. I actually had Tennessee winning the tournament, and they gave Purdue a pretty good fight. I mean, it was pretty close all the way to the end, but Zach Edey put up like 40 and damn near 20 rebounds. He was insane. Yeah, he was definitely one of the stars of the tournament. But UConn as a whole, in my opinion, is the MVP of this tournament. Like while Zach Edey as an individual probably had the best tournament, UConn just as a team was so good all throughout. Like I said, they didn't even have a game where they were within single digits. That's how much they were just on their shit all game, man. They were really great.
Yeah, I
Gotta
mean
give Dan early credit, man.
they were dominant all tournament long. I mean, a lot of games, I mean, every single game was a double digit win. I think their closest game was the Bama game, if I'm not mistaken. I think they won by
Yeah,
12 in that one, something like that.
yep, I believe so.
Yeah, and I mean, they had games where they won by 30 in this tournament. I mean, they were just so good. And I think the number one reason for that is they were able to shut down great offenses by actually doing something that they don't do in the NBA and playing defense. So that tells you right there, none of those players on UConn's team are ever going to go into the NBA. Just saying. But yeah, no, UConn just absolutely dominant. They're gonna keep getting these good recruits because they've been recruiting like crazy over the last few years, and it's obviously paying off. And when you're winning championship after championship, yeah, it is. It speaks well about your program and what the future holds for it as well.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what teams do well next year. Glad Michigan State was able to at least get a win in the tournament. I mean, they drew a number one seed in the next round, UNC. So I'm not really too mad they lost, even though I think they could have beat North Carolina. Like I said, that's just a tough draw. When you're 8-9, you always get the one seed the next round. So hopefully they'll be better for next year, and they don't have to do that. They don't have to play number one seed in the next round. So yeah, man, I think that tournaments next year is going to be great. UConn's going for a three-peat. That's going to be crazy if that happens. But yeah, maybe Michigan can get back on track as well. Michigan State, same thing. Oakland, shout out Oakland, man. They represented for the state of Michigan, even though again they lost next round to NC State, still to just beat Kentucky. That's such a big win for that school. That's going to bring so much attention to that school, man. I mean, of course we know Oakland, but now getting national news recognition from the tournament, that's going to be big for them and their athletic program.
Yeah, it's big for Oakland. I mean, obviously, since we're from the area, we're well aware of what Oakland is, and obviously it's a really small school, but they've made the tournament a few times before, and now they finally get a win in it, and over a blue blood school in Kentucky, which is yeah, I think it's the best storyline in all the tournament outside of maybe NC State in their deep run as an 11 seed. But yeah, it was not a huge amount of upsets this year in this tournament. I mean, you look at last year's tournament and you're like, holy crap, I want that every year. But this year, you just kind of got really high seeds in the Final Four outside of NC State, and not a whole lot of upsets. Your only Cinderella was NC State, but I don't really count a Cinderella unless you're a 13 seed or higher, in my honest opinion.
Yeah. Well, I always say this to people when I'm talking about the tournament. There's always like a Cinderella team, like a 13 or lower that wins in the first round. But then there's always a team, I'd say 9 seed or lower, that goes like really far. And that this year was NC State. There's always a team that goes to like the Elite Eight that's like a 9 seed or lower. So there's always that. So I mean, technically they're still kind of Cinderella. They're still underdog, but to win like 2 or 3 games, that's big. NC State, yeah, big props to them for making it this far in the tournament. And again, congrats to UConn on a back-to-back. That is going to be big. Like I said, big for their school. They're going to be one of the best basketball schools, I feel like, moving forward. I mean, of course, you're going to have Duke, Kentucky, North Carolina, the Blue Bloods, Kansas. But people are saying now UConn's going to be a blue blood. I mean, they are putting together a great program over there.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do in the future. Becoming a blue blood, I mean, it's tough to become a blue blood in any sport. Usually, you have to have a long history of success, and UConn doesn't quite have that long history of success, but they're quickly becoming one of those, storied programs. So yeah, very interesting tournament, of course. College basketball is now over. We're gonna look obviously towards the NBA playoffs, and that's coming up really soon. And
It's
same,
the last week of the season this year.
yeah, and we got
For the
there's
season.
10 more days in the NHL season, so yeah, it's gonna be interesting for sure. But that's gonna wrap up that. Now let's get some NFL action here. We're gonna do our top 10 prospects for positions. Today we're hitting the running back, so let's get right into it. Starting with number 10 here, from Texas, Jonathan Brooks. He's 6'0", 207 pounds. Just he's a pretty beefy dude for how short he is, or not. He's not really short, but he's a beefy dude. Um, he he's a really good running back. The problem is that this running back class is pretty goddamn weak. So this year, so
Yeah.
it's one of the weakest running back classes we've had in a very very long time. Jonathan Brooks is pretty good. Um, he he's got really really good like agility. His lateral movement's really good. Um, he can catch out of the backfield too, which is definitely helpful. Um, and he I don't really see a true weakness about him. I mean, he runs a little bit tall, um, which is obviously not good as a running back. You want to run short, like run as short as you can. Low man always wins, but yeah, he's probably gonna go probably fourth round. They got him graded fourth or fifth round here. I liked him. Obviously, I mean, I was big on Texas this year. Still gonna be big on them coming into this upcoming season. But yeah, Jonathan Brooks, number 10. I don't actually mind that ranking there.
Yeah, I don't really know too much on the guy, but from what you're kind of saying, yeah. Uh, I just know that this is going to be a weak running back class, so at this point, you just gotta kind of hope that one of them pans out. I mean, a lot of these guys, if you can just keep them on rookie deals and kind of build the rest of your team, I mean, that's what you should do with these running backs. Just sign them. Hopefully, they pan out. Even if they're a third or fourth round pick, seeing something from these guys, hopefully, and being able to use them, have a good run game for very low salary cap hit, would be really good for a lot of these teams.
Yeah, I mean, basically, running backs. You know how I view them. They're extremely disposable. You draft one, keep them around for the rookie deal, and after that rookie deal's up, just toss them to the curb. We don't pay running backs. Successful teams don't pay running backs. So, um, yeah. Number 9 here from Wisconsin is Braylon Allen. He's 6'2", 245. He is a big, big boy. Um, Extremely strong. He just bulldozes everyone. Um, he's really good in like his hesitations just to make people miss when he comes through the line. Um, the problem is that he's just slow. I mean, he's big, he's powerful. I mean, you might see him almost in like a fullback position with the team that drafts him because he's just that strong and powerful. So it'd be interesting to see where he goes. They got him graded as a fourth round pick. I got him right around there as well. I mean, he's got more positives than negatives, but he's just there's so much talent at other more premium positions this year where it's just like in a draft where let's say quarterbacks weren't good and wide receivers weren't good and maybe defensive backs weren't the greatest. Um, you could probably see him go second round. That's where he would probably be. But given this draft class, there's just no way I don't see any of these running backs really going in the first round at all.
Yeah, again, this guy, got some weight to him for sure, but again, just not really anyone standing out. I mean, like I said, this is the QB, tackle, and wide receiver draft. There's tons of QBs, tons of tackles, and tons of wide receivers. So that's going to be the forefront of this draft. So I think running backs are going to be a lot of afterthought. Not much to them. Again, you're just going to kind of hope that you can land someone who's worthy of holding down that starting spot and um, keeping you in good position for the rest of your team.
Yeah, and it's basically going to be it. Is hey, can this guy help our team at all in any sort of way? Just because, yeah. Moving up to number 8, Amani Bailey from TCU. He's 5'7", 203. Really short, but pretty beefy for his size. He is wicked fast. I mean, this dude, you think he has a jet engine strapped to his back. He's just that fast. I mean, he's extremely explosive when he gets to the line of scrimmage, gets up to that second level. His problem is more the fact that he's just small. In terms of height, I mean, he'd be one of the shortest quarterbacks, one of the shortest players in the league. Not quarterback, shortest running backs, but also just one of the shortest players in the league.
So taller than Bryce Young.
Yeah, he'd be damn near Bryce Young and Kyler Murray size. But yeah, I mean, this guy, he's just small, and that's gonna be his biggest problem. Why he might fall further down the draft board. They got him graded as a third to fourth rounder. I don't see him getting drafted in the third round. I see him probably going probably around mid fourth round, to be honest with you, just because of his size. But yeah, I mean, look, the Breeze could probably tackle him because he's small.
And every time I think of small running backs, I think of Darren Sproles and just what he did. I mean, he was never really that great, but he had some memorable moments here and there. I think that small running backs definitely have a place for them, but it's tough, not being able to be that power running back. I mean, if you can be real elusive in your that small, I think that works into your advantage just because it's going to be harder to catch you. You can kind of sneak through smaller holes, but this a guy having a lot more beef. I mean, being a power runner, I think might be a little tough, but who knows? Maybe you have this guy at the goal line and he sets you up there. But again, someone who's going to go like fourth round. I mean, again, you're kind of just taking a chance. Basically, anyone if you're not in the top 2, maybe 3 rounds, you're kind of just taking a chance on hoping that they pan out.
Yeah, and that's basically what it is. Is you're just hoping someone pans out for you. Probably gonna be a practice squad guy to start, but if he could prove himself, he could prove himself. Moving up, number 7 here from Kentucky, you got Ray Davis. He's 5'9", 220. A little bit taller than our last guy, but a lot beefier as well. He's very powerful. He runs like an angry man, which is obviously very, very good. He is not afraid to take a hit. He won't. If he has an opportunity to stiff arm you, he's just gonna tuck his shoulder into you instead. He doesn't care. He is very, very strong. But I think his biggest downfall and why his draft stock is gonna be so low is because of his age. I mean, he's going to be 25 halfway through the season this year, and he's got a ton of miles on him already. And if you're going to be a running back in the NFL, if you want to have any sort of longevity to your career, get drafted as soon as you possibly can. At his age of 24 right now, it ain't gonna fucking work out for him too long, I don't think.
Yeah, again, kind of that same philosophy we've already been just nailing on. I mean, all these guys kind of seem like one and the same. I mean, each one's kind of built a little bit differently, but I mean, who are you going to be going with?
Yeah, exactly. They got him graded third to fourth round. I could see him probably going third round, um, but any lower than like early fourth round, I don't see that happening. Number 6 here from Oregon, you got Bucky Irving. He's 5'10", 195. Um, he he's fast. He's very very elusive. He breaks a lot of tackles. Or I should say he breaks a lot of arm tackles. I mean, he makes guys miss entirely. They have to reach for him to try and bring him down because he's just that quick and elusive. Um, he could catch out of the backfield, which is very very good. He's younger, but I think his biggest problem is just his size. Really, he doesn't have the leg strength that even guys like Amani Bailey has. I mean, he's obviously in terms of height bigger, but in terms of weight, he's actually smaller than him. But he just doesn't have the leg strength. I mean, and you can see it just in pictures. His legs are a lot skinnier than pretty much every single running back in this running back class. But he still has great ball carrier vision, which is a very good skill to have. They got him graded to a third to fourth round pick. I see him probably going third round as well. Maybe fourth round.
Yeah, kind of the same. I think that you know, uh, Oregon's a pretty good school, but again, just not really on any of these running backs.
Yeah, this running back class is just so weird, man. Number 5 here from Michigan, Blake Corum, 5'8",
Oh yeah.
213. 61 touchdowns this over his 4 seasons at Michigan. Extremely productive, really strong. He's tough as hell. I mean, as a Michigan fan myself, I mean, he's the best running back I've seen play at Michigan. I mean, I'd say he's better than Mike Hart, and I was a huge Mike Hart fan back in the day. But I mean, yeah, this guy is incredible. Not a very he's not a big threat out of the backfield in terms of catching the ball, but yeah, he will break one loose on you. He's not very fast, but he's very very powerful. They got his biggest concern is just the fact that he doesn't he had such clean holes to run through at Michigan that he never really had to run through a clogged up hole all too often, and that's basically his biggest concern. Obviously, the height is a bit of an issue, but he brings that with so much leg strength and just so much power when he runs that I think that that's completely irrelevant when he has all that power. So yeah, I like Blake Corum a lot. They got him going in the third round. I see him probably going around there as well. Early third round for him.
Yeah, I really like Blake Corum, man. Finally, someone who I'm kind of familiar with, of course. I think that he can be great. Again, I don't think he's going to be like an all-time great running back in the NFL, but I think he could be a solid starter for a contending team. Oh yeah, I think that he could do that. You give him the right personnel, man. He can be a great running back. I think that he's got a lot of great tools, man. Like you said, such a good running back in Michigan.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he eclipsed and surpassed Mike Hart's touchdown record. I mean, he could definitely help a team out. I think he might be a steal of a running back. You never know. Moving on to number 4 here from USC is Marshawn Lloyd, and I really like this guy in terms of just the way he runs. I mean, he's fast and he's got a lot of power behind him. The one problem I don't like with this guy, and this is his a listed concern as well on this article, is just the fact that he when he gets hit, he doesn't plow through anyone through contact. I mean, he just takes the hit and goes down. I mean, he doesn't really fall forward. Um, you know, he doesn't drive his legs through a pile. I mean, as soon as he hits contact, it's kind of just like game over. He doesn't even try to keep running. But when you get in an open field, man, that dude can run.
He could run. Yeah, he can run the open field for sure.
Yeah, that he can. So moving up to number 3 here is Trey Benson from Florida State. He's 6'1", 223. He's a big boy. He has excellent ball carrier vision. I mean, he is one of the big reasons why Florida State was so successful this year. He's fast, agile. Again, some of the best ball carrier vision out of this running back draft class. It's going to be interesting to see where he goes. The problem is he has some trouble holding on to the ball, especially when he's getting thrown to. I mean, he dropped a lot of touchdown passes this year that were, I mean, easy catches. No one, near him, and he dropped them. So that's kind of his biggest problem. He did have a knee injury in 2020, so that's kind of, that possibly could lower his draft stock a little bit. But they got him graded as a second or third rounder. I think he's definitely going to go in that second round.
Yeah, I think that he has some potential here. Again, this is kind of where we're starting to break away and into these guys who might actually be first and second round picks here for these running backs.
Yeah. Moving on to number 2 here is Jalen Wright from Tennessee. He's 5'10", 210. He's pretty well sized, obviously, given his weight and height. He's the first running back to reach 1,000 yards in Tennessee history. He's the first one to hit it as fast as he did. I read that wrong. But yeah, he just really, really, really solid runner. He's very dynamic. He's patient but very aggressive at the same time. I really like the way this kid runs. I honestly, like, if I had to choose a team he could go play for and where his style I think would fit would probably be the Kansas City Chiefs, if I'm being honest with you. I mean, he would suit that offensive line and just that Andy Reid offense very, very well. He has great vision. My concern would be he didn't get a whole lot of reps, I guess. I mean, he broke through. The reason he got as many yards as he did at Tennessee was just because he always had very clean holes. It's gonna be interesting to see what he does because in the red zone he didn't play a whole lot. So that kind of tells you, where he kind of lied with that Tennessee offense. But I think outside of that, I mean, he's gonna be a really good running back in this league. They got him great as a second round pick. And yeah, none of these running backs are going to go in the first round, that's for sure. Yeah, I think this kid can definitely go places.
Yeah, so I think Casey's a good fit for him, and they can use a running back with Pacheco, and quite a layer isn't going to last long much there. So I think that that's a good fit for him. Being with the Super Bowl champs, that would be nice to get drafted by them.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where he goes for sure. But yeah, I just think he would really fit that Kansas City offense very, very well. But I think no matter where he goes, he's going to fit pretty goddamn well. But I don't think any team would fit him better than Kansas City. But we'll see where he goes. And then number one here from Notre Dame, of course, Audric Estime, 5'11", 227. Um, this dude is just incredible. If you were to, you know, go to the build a player store and you wanted to build a running back, this is what you would get. I mean, he is very strong, fast as hell, very very agile. Um, and for his size, man, he can run, and he shows a ton of explosiveness, especially once he gets the ball in his hands, running through the line. It's only slight issue I have with him is eagerness to attack holes. Um, he sometimes he gets a little too impatient, trying to wait for a hole to open up. So you see him often, pushing his lineman, which doesn't do him any good. It doesn't get him further down the field as fast as he would like. But outside of that, man, I mean, the dude is so good. Extremely good. Ball carrier vision, of course. And I think I think his biggest attribute is both that and just the power that he runs with. So yeah, I estimate is. I mean, he's the best running back in this class, and that ain't saying much because this class is not good. He's gonna probably go early second round. I don't see him dropping outside of the top 50 if I'm being honest with you. But he's obviously not going to go in the first round.
Yeah, yeah. He has the best tools and the best talent probably of all of the running backs that we have so far. And again, though, not even the first round pick. So it's just such a tough year for running backs that I was teams I would just avoid running backs until the later rounds. I mean, no one's really standing out. But there is someone. I think that this is probably our best prospect, Notre Dame kid. But again, just such a weak draft for running backs that probably drafted some other skill positions first.
I don't even necessarily want to say it's a really weak draft for running backs. I just think it's just such a strong draft for. I mean, obviously offensive line, and we'll get to that. I think probably this week, or if not next Tuesday. I mean, this is one of the strongest offensive lineman drafts in over a decade, I'd say. And it's such a very strong class for quarterbacks and definitely for wide receivers. And even in the secondary, there's a ton of good talent. So I just think if this draft wasn't as stacked as it was in terms of quarterback, receiver, and offensive line, a couple of these guys could probably slip into the first round. I mean, Estime was projected to be a first-round pick up until this year when we realized that this was the draft class that we were going to have with all these elite, linemen and receivers. So, I mean, it's hard to say that the class is not good. It's not the best we've had in a long time, but it's not a terrible class by any means.
Yeah, just such a good offensive line class and wide receiver and quarterback. Running backs are just going to get fallen behind.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a disposable position. They're a dime a dozen. For running backs. So I mean, you know, you never know. Some of these guys could develop into, elite running backs in this league, but there's just no way of knowing for sure. But, anyways, guys, that's going to wrap it up for us. Thursday, we're going to obviously do this with a different position group, either tight ends or offensive line. We'll probably go with offensive line just because it's the more elite group of players in this upcoming draft. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for us. Obviously, we have the playoffs right around the corner for both the NHL and the NBA. The wild card race in the NHL for the Eastern Conference is ridiculously tight. It's almost like no one wants um, to be in that last wild card spot. But yeah. Anyways, guys, we're gonna get into all that coming up here in the next few weeks for sure. But rate, review, subscribe, help us out. Let us know what you want to see from us, of course. Check out the YouTube page. Check out all of our all your different podcasting sites, and just share it. Share it with your friends, with your family. Share it with random strangers. Um, keep getting the word out there for us, and we'll keep growing this thing. Again, thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you guys on Thursday.